Hey, I'm Randy and I'm the Cheap Audio Man. Thanks for logging into your YouTube account today. Here at the Cheap Audio Man, we don't feel like hi-fi equipment. Speakers, amps, DACs, turntables, AV receivers, speakers, I already said that. Should cost more than a letter jacket for your daughter who's on the drill team. And apparently, letter jackets have to be fitted now. You can't just go buy one. You have to go to a special place, get fitted, and then give them a significant amount of money up front and get nothing in return because they're going to send it to you later. Okay, and this doesn't, what is it? This is the FX. Oh, sorry. This is the FX. Hold on, where's it at? There we go. FX Audio. DD-1 DAC, and it's a headphone amp, and it's also a Bluetooth receiver. So grab a cup of coffee, sit down, and let's talk about the FX Audio Double D1. Today's sponsor is Packing Peanuts from the Packing Peanut Depot. As a manufacturer, someone providing goods and services, really goods, sending to your customers, you have a lot of choices to pack your goods safely and properly. When you don't care about your customer and you want to give them the big middle finger, always use Packing Peanuts. Packing Peanuts from Packing Peanut Depot. You're gonna thank us because you don't like your customers. All right. FX Audio DD-1. Come on now. There we go. DD-1. Look at that. It's got a thing on the front that shows you displays. It's a display. It's a little headphone amp. It's got a volume knob for variable output. On the back, you have, look at that, full-size optical, full-size USB, full-size coax, and then RCA outs. And a Bluetooth antenna. So what is this? This is a DAC, a headphone amp. Kind of a headphone amp. Okay, this is a DAC Bluetooth receiver with variable output first. And then there's a headphone amp included with it, all right? That headphone amp puts out 400 milliwatts into 32 ohms and I think 90 milliwatts into 300 ohms. I tried it with the Fostex T40RP, which is pretty hard to drive headphone. I was able to max out the volume all the way. Now, it was louder than when I normally listen to it, but that headphone probably needs a bit more juice than what the FX Audio Double D1 can provide. I did listen to the Grado SR80E on it, and well, it did fine with the Grados. So if you're going to be using this for a headphone amplifier, or that feature is very important to you, you may want to consider which headphones you're going to be driving it with. If you're going to drive really hard to drive headphones with it, may not be that. You may want to get a dedicated headphone amp. Okay, so don't buy this just for the headphone amp. That's an extra. That's something extra. Okay, this DAC Bluetooth receiver uses a Sabre chip. Not only does it use the Sabre chip, it uses the 9038 QTM Sabre chip, which coincidentally, the Topping D50S also uses the same chip. The Topping D50S is $250. This is $150. The Topping D50S also has LDAC Bluetooth as well as aptX HD, aptX AAC, and SBC. So does this one. All right, it's a it's a 32 all the way up to 768. It does DSD 512. All the latest and greatest. Chances are you're gonna have a 32-bit track or anything like that. 24/196, probably the highest you're gonna see. I don't listen to any DSD tracks, so I wouldn't know. So anyway, if you look at the way this is built quality-wise, it's got a metal chassis. I don't think there's a whole lot inside. It's not very heavy. What I'm saying. Actually, I can probably. Yeah, I can hold it in my mouth with my teeth, so it's not super heavy. Come on. There we go. All right. Volume knob up here. Well, other side. All right. Now, when I got it, it was kind of lots of friction. And what I did is I just pulled it out, like ever so slightly. Pulled it out. The design cues are very similar to some of the fuzzy audio stuff that's out there. The buttons over here feel very similar. This is very similar to one of the fuzzy audio Bluetooth amps that I reviewed. And it had a DAC in it as well. So chances are they're coming from the same manufacturing facility. And that's fine. This is a little bit dated when it comes to like how it looks, but I mean, that doesn't really bother me. How does it sound? So I like Sabre DACs. I like Burr Brown DACs, and some AKM DACs I like. People will say that it's not about the DAC chip used, it's about the implementation. And I think that's true. But every time I've heard an AKM DAC, regardless of manufacturer, I've always been able to say, and this is like without any filters, stock, out of the box, AKM DAC, I can pick it out. I've always been able to pick it out. Because an AKM DAC to me is a little bit overtly analytical, especially on the top end, and not as full on the bottom end. Quite frankly, an AKM chip DAC to me sounds digital. And maybe that's just because I have associated that sound with what digital sounds like. To me, and this is just to me, your mileage may vary, a Burr Brown DAC and a Sabre DAC has the tendency to be more what I would consider analog. And that I define that as a little bit more body in the mid-range, lower mid-range, and bass. And then not as in your face on the treble. Sound signature on this is the typical Sabre. This does, however, sound differently than the D50S. I think this one's a little bit more full, a little bit more analog-ish than the D50S. Now with the D50S, you can go in there and change some filter settings and other things like that. The only thing that I noticed about this DAC was in certain frequencies, and they were in the upper end. So everything was real nice and smooth, real nice and full. And then there were certain frequencies that it sounded a bit, whoa, kind of waking up. It sounded outside, didn't sound balanced with the other frequencies, okay? And the track that I listened to that I really noticed that was Sweet Child O' Mine by Guns N' Roses. At the beginning, it's like, so the that top part was like, hello. It was very, okay, this is the song, sounds great, nice and full, and then when it got to those upper notes, it kind of came alive. Also noticed that on some cymbals and percussive tracks, this would wake up a bit on some of those higher frequencies. Now, here's the good thing about it. It wasn't like all that. It just popped up a little bit. All right. Final thoughts on this product is at $150, this is a buy. If this is your first DAC, or if this is a DAC that's going into a second room, or this is a DAC that you want to use Bluetooth on, it's $150. And it's an LDAC Bluetooth receiver. And the only other LDAC Bluetooth, there's other ones out there, but they're not super user-friendly. The one that I normally recommend is the iFi Zen Blue. That's $130, and that's just for a Bluetooth receiver. Now, it obviously has a DAC because it's taking digital music, spitting it out through RCAs into your stereo, so it has a DAC in it. But this one not only has a DAC in it for the Bluetooth receiver, it also has USB, coax, and optical. So this is a full functioning DAC that you can hook up to your computer, CD player, DVD player, anything digital that has a USB, optical, or coaxial out. So this one has more functionality. Sound-wise, is it the best killer DAC I've ever heard? No, but it is balanced enough, not too analytical and not too shouty, that I really enjoyed the sound signature with it. This DAC will pair well with Class D amps that aren't full. Basically, Class D amps that aren't the IEMA 07. And it still pairs well with the IEMA 07. Actually, that's a great combo because I felt like that was really lush and full of body, but still had that treble detail. But what I'm saying is like the normal Class D amps have a kind of a similar sound to me, and that's a little bit emphasized in the treble region and a little bit analytical, maybe flat. This is going to add in a lot of body to that. So I think this is a great product. Couldn't recommend this product more. $150, fully functioning DAC that uses the same type of chip from more expensive DACs. Bluetooth receiver, can be used as a headphone amp, but don't think that this is a headphone amp first. That's an extra feature that you get. $150, no brainer. You hook it up to the IEMA 07, you hook it up to SMSL, DA-9, the Lox-G little triangle amp, whatever it is. It's good, very good. You can use this as a soundbar replacement with even a Fuzzy Audio little amp or whatever. So a lot of opportunities and a lot of use case scenarios for this. Great product. $150, can't go wrong. This wasn't even on my radar, but John S., a very good friend of the channel, recommended this, so I picked it up and very surprised. The two things that have surprised me most, probably within the last couple of months, are the IEMA A07 amp and the FX Audio DO-1. They're fantastic, very affordable, great products. So don't binge watch anything on Netflix or Hulu or anything like that. Binge listen through your new FX Audio DO-1 and fill your... Oh, by the way, there's only like 20 of these left on Amazon. So if you're interested, you better jump on it. Fill your soul with happiness. For that, I'm Randy. I'm the cheap audio man.